Hello everybody, I am Hoarder Gamer, and this is Hoarder's Comic Flex. And you might be surprised if you're watching live, we are on at the normal day and time. Things worked well at scheduling, and here we are, and this is usually the time and day will be. So, hello everybody, good to see you. Now, usually we start with some video game news. And first off, I like to, give the breakdown. So it's usually video game news, then we toy around for a bit, then we look at the very near future of comics, and then we end with a comic book review. But some interesting comic book news came out today, and one's a bit of a spoiler, and I haven't even read it yet, so pretty wild. Anyway, Mark Spector is back as Moon Knight. And apparently that happens in Blood Hunt number 4. Moon Knight, Vengeance of the Moon Knight, number 6 came out today. But apparently it's in Blood Hunt number 4 that event occurs. So I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And most retailers were given a sealed comic book called Fist of Khonshu number 0. So it looks, I believe it's going to be Jed MacKay again, and the artists he's been working with for Vengeance of the Moon Knight, doing now Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu. So I believe they're just changing the title. I need to double check this because I just found out about it. And apparently, on the cover of this retailer version of Fist of Khonshu number 0, it mentions and Joe Kelly taking over Amazing Spider-Man. So Zeb Wells is leaving Amazing Spider-Man. I'm not sure what book Zeb is going to, but apparently Joe Kelly has gotten the gig. So that's a lot of crazy information to come out on a Wednesday. And I just sort of found out about it like an hour before the show. So. First it was like a rabbit hole. It was like Fist of Khonshu 0. And then it's like Mark Spector. And then Joe Kelly. Interesting. So when we can, I think instead of starting with video game news, we're going to start with comic book news if it's possible. Sometimes there's a neat solicit, and I'll bring it up briefly as I talk about like the future of comics maybe. But yeah, I think it's neat to have like a little comic book section because this is Hoarder's Comic Flex. So I feel I had to have that Fist of Khonshu and Joe Kelly information here. So okay, now talking about video game news, there is well, I took some notes. Basically, I want to have some of the details I have in the notes here to explain what I experienced. Okay, so Diablo 4, the PTR for Season 5. I want to make sure I don't say accidentally Diablo 5 PTR for Season 4. But no, it's the Diablo 4 PTR for Season 5. If you don't know what that is, it's a public test server. Only available through Battle.net or Battle.net or whatever it is. So it's on PC. So they don't have test servers yet for console. They'd like to. They don't know if it's feasible at this point. Just because how much longer it would take to have that run and get the information from it and everything. Okay. So I caught about 20 minutes of Riker playing Diablo 4 Season 5 PTR. He seemed to be having a good time when I was watching. I want to reiterate when I was watching. But after I stopped watching, he rage quit over the abysmal drop rate for the season event mechanic. Now, he mentioned key, but I believe it might also have had something to do with an infernal compass. And it just seems to be the consensus among early PTR players. And what I have to say is, I think it was because I stopped watching that Riker stopped having fun. I think that's it. I think that's the real reason. No, basically the drop rate for the compass, the keys that you need in order to fight the Fell Council. And yes, I'm going to make that terrible joke again. The Fell Council has nothing to do with actor Norman Fell, known from Three's Company. It's basically Zakarum priests that went nuts and evil, and you have to face off against them. And it's this interesting mode that feels like a light version of Hades, and something that could really build up into its own thing within Diablo 4. You know how, like, there's all those, like, permutations now for Fortnite? You have Lego, you have, like, I don't know if they call it Rock Band, it might be like Rock Festival, I'm not sure what title it is. But you have all these things within Fortnite, yet it's still Fortnite. They could definitely do that with Diablo 4 and build up into this wild event where you go, well, probably not always against the Fell Council, right? That would make complete sense. But yeah, basically, the point of the PTR, though, the point of the PTR, find out what works, what doesn't work, and fix what does not work. So the PTR is only 1 week long, and then it's about a month after the PTR ends that the new season begins. So, like, I believe it's the first week of August, I think, is season 5 of Diablo 4, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. I just thought it was funny, though, because, like, last night I stream on twitch.tv/Hoarder Gamer, in case you didn't know, and I mentioned that it looked like Riker was having a lot of fun, and apparently that all fell apart at some point after I left. Again, not saying I'm the reason he stopped having fun when I left. I'm saying that it's because, you know, the drop rate. So, okay. Now, big gaming news. Okay? First off, this week, Luigi's Mansion 2 hits the Nintendo Switch. And reviews have been excellent for it. Basically, if you've not played the 3DS version and you like Luigi and or Mario games, you should definitely pick this up. It sounds awesome. It looks great. They did an incredible job with the textures and the graphics. It looks so good. But the caveat for almost every review that I saw was that if you played through the entire 3DS game, this really doesn't add much. Like, almost nothing extra to it. So it's something to think about. You know, I believe it is, I think it's a $60 price tag for that game. I don't think it's $49.99. So just something to think about, okay? And that's one of the only, like, big launch games this week. However, July 2nd, next Tuesday, is the launch of the First Descendant. And basically for me, I'll be starting with the equivalent of an Ice Mage, Viessa. And she also is able to debuff her enemies. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I do want to put together a tank named Axel. So basically what happens is you fight these, like, I think they're called Void bosses or something like that. I might have the term. I'm pretty sure I have the term wrong. They're like these giant kaiju bosses. They're really wild. And there's like 16 of these damn things. So you fight these and they will drop the components you need to create descendants and add them to your team. So Axel's a tank, all about shields and everything, and has this insane armor, so he can take a lot of damage. Apparently, he's one of the only people that can just go into the void itself. So I wonder if that's going to be something very special, where there's a number of descendants over time that can go into the void. I'm wondering. And then if you need those descendants in order to do certain void missions, I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so also, everybody loves Bunny. Bunny is like an Energizer bunny, always running around to keep her powers up, okay? And just an adorable character, like, adorable. I'm looking forward to have Bunny in my team as well. Speedster. You know, if you want to do in one word what Bunny is, a speedster. And Velby. Velby is a character that can, like, turn into water. And it's pretty wild, too, because, like, every character that has an ability, they have a ridiculous name for it. Like, they have a character that can do, like, fire damage, and they call it stoves. You're creating a stove of AoE fire damage. And for Velby, it's a laundry. Like you're creating water around an area and causing AoE damage, area of effect. And for her, because it's water, it's called laundry, which I thought was hilarious. And it does that with every character. Like all these funny choices for calling what their powers are, you know? Now, also, I got to play the 20th anniversary of Beyond Good and Evil, and it's awesome. If you like the original game, I highly recommend picking this up. Vastly improved graphics and textures. Textures are much better. And even faster load times. I was playing on the PS5, and I'm comparing it to the HD version on the playing on the Xbox Series X. Even faster load times. So, yeah, really neat stuff. Plus, there's this treasure hunt they added to the game. And I don't know if the treasure hunt is a mission that ties into Beyond Good and Evil 2, which, news alert, that's still coming out. That's still coming out. One of the craziest pieces of information that came out when we found out about this HD 20th anniversary version. I don't want to say HD because that's the name of the other one. The 20th anniversary version was that indeed it's connected to Beyond Good and Evil 2, and that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still coming. Now, 7 years ago, it was announced with a pretty wild cinema. And then it, I want to say 2 years later, there's another cinema, but longer, including some gameplay, roughly about 30 minutes of gameplay. And then the most recent information, besides kind of, here and there saying, yep, still working on it, was 4 years ago, showing like the customization of the character that you create and the ship that you operate. So it's insane though, because you can take you're creating hybrids. Like if you wanted, you could do a human character, but you could also do a human shark. You could do a human rhinoceros, a human gorilla. Like you're doing hybrids, and that's the whole idea of the game. That you have a class system. So the hybrids are they try to keep a hybrid separate from humans, and it's all because of a corporation, I believe, because I'm sure it's going to tie into Alpha and the first game. I'm thinking it has to. Now, what's interesting too is this is a prequel, so where you saw Jade and other characters hanging out, and everything like that. Maybe in this prequel that just wasn't normal. And maybe that's something that, is going on. I know that in the gameplay they showed Ganesh City, and it looked beautiful, and it looked massive and sprawling, incredibly vertical. It looked so good. I almost got vertigo from how vertical it was. Okay. But yes, I highly recommend getting the 20th anniversary of Beyond Good and Evil. It's one of Ubisoft's best games, I mean, it's at a point where it came out 2003, I think. So technically it would be the 21st anniversary, but I know they've been working on it for a while, so. And something tells me they wanted to wait to bring it out till now because they wanted to be further along with the sequel to hopefully show us something this year from Beyond Good and Evil 2 again, because that would be great. Let's see. Trying to get into the creator club or whatever they have for the First Descendant. Hilariously enough, it will not accept my name or any permutation thereof. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's an issue at Microsoft Edge or what it is, but I'm trying to make an account and hopefully I'll get one. I don't know what's going on with it. Finally, news that dropped today. Marvel Rivals. You can actually go, I think the easiest thing would be to go to the Twitter account and hit the link there. And Marvel Rivals, you can sign up for the Xbox and PlayStation, basically the console beta that's happening towards the end of July. So you can actually sign up for that now. I signed up for it earlier today, so I'm looking forward to that. And as I talked about Marvel Rivals, I mentioned that I'm hoping it has some unique modes, okay? You already have the fact that you can have one character work with another to do an attack and stuff like that. That's awesome. You can have team-ups, basically. but I'm hoping that there's like somewhat different modes too to this specific game, you know? I'm hoping it's not just like renamed modes that are in Overwatch, because that'll be really disappointing. Like, this could really be something awesome, unique, and fantastic, you know? And even if, like, the stuff you play in the beta feels maybe like it is a bit like Overwatch, that doesn't mean there can't be cool modes in the final version of the game when it comes out. I feel the same way about the game Concord. So apparently a big part of the game is heists. And that makes a lot of sense because the Guardians of the Galaxy was a huge influence on Concord, like the comic book and the movie. And a lot of heists go on in both. So I'm hoping that there's like almost a payday type of mode or something like that. Again, I'm hoping it's not just like, you know, renamed Overwatch modes. Because even if it plays really well and everything, that's just going to be kind of boring, you know? Like, that first cinema they showed for Concord made it look like this amazing story-based heist game. And then the gameplay, while looking very good, very fluid, and, you know, very detailed, it just kind of felt Overwatchy, you know? Like, I pre-ordered Concord, but I mean, I didn't put any money down. I just, like, pre-ordered at Amazon. So if it turns out it's real disappointing, then I you know, I won't even, like, go and do it. So. Okay, everybody. We are done with our video game news for today. It's time for us to toy around a bit. And first up, I have to say, just about everything here I think is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, because a lot of these were announced and some of these are absolutely amazing. You know what? Let's start with this one. Sometimes I feel like I'm wasting away in Hoarderville. Jimmy Buffett. From his cameo in Jurassic World, I believe. I have a better picture of this too. Yes. Next to him on the right is his shaker of salt. Literally his shaker of salt. And he's standing in a giant margarita. And the packaging itself is a cardboard blender. This thing is phenomenal. This thing is so great. And I do have another picture of it. Look at that. Look at that. You have the dinosaurs that are flying overhead. You have that excellent base. Especially like the margarita he's standing in. And he's holding his shaker of salt in one of his hands. This is one of the most absurd and wonderful San Diego Comic-Con exclusive I've ever seen. I believe it's a 4-inch figure, or 4.5-inch figure, and it's $30 for the box set. So I thought that was really cool. As San Diego Comic-Con prices go, for an exclusive, that's a really cool price, especially with all the pieces you get in here. But yes, if you didn't realize it, you probably need a Jimmy Buffett action figure. I mean, really, what has your life been without it, you know? I think this is something everyone needs. Okay. Now, we have something else that's pretty wild. Hopefully I do this correctly here. I think this is going to be the right one. There we go. So, too bad. Too bad. So this is a Mattel San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Actually, I believe all of these are. I think Jimmy Buffett was as well. So too bad. So you have Tuva and Badra. Okay? And they become Too Bad. So look at this insane packaging it comes in. That's one thing to keep in mind too. Usually San Diego Comic-Con exclusives have just like gorgeous, insane packaging. And this is no different right here. And one of the toys will show in a couple minutes. It's not different there either. It's very much how they're packaged and what they look like. Okay, so we got that right there. And then, very importantly, we have this second picture. It shows an extra chest because 2 heads are better than 1. So you can actually create 2 bad from both of the characters that, you know, become 2 bad. And then there's a portrait. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what the deal with the portrait is. I don't remember. Now, some people were a little disappointed this is based on the Filmation version, like the 1980s cartoon series, and that it wasn't based on the early 2000s He-Man. But it's still pretty amazing, and most fans were like, I'd like that other version, but I'm probably going to get this. So now I think this is going for $50. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't see the price for that on the Mattel website when I looked, but I think it's like going for $50. And finally, everybody, the item that you truly just cannot live without, the item you need in your house as of late July, you can order it. Mojo Dojo Casa House. Ken's take on Barbie's house. Ken's dream house, if you will. So, it even comes with a Ken figure, and you can actually see the Ken figures packaged on the second floor of the house, and then over to his right is his cowboy hat. So, I don't know if they're going to do other figures in this scale. I'm not sure. I think it would be a missed opportunity if they don't. Even though this is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, I think that would be cool. But yeah, I saw this and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is going to be $50. I believe that someone somewhere said it's going to be a size of a suitcase, but it's obviously not like the full size of what you would need for full Barbie figures, because that would be huge, and probably about $150, maybe $200. So they wanted to do a small version of it, and I think it looks great. Mojo Dojo Casa House from Barbie. Just can. Just can. Okay. And with that, everybody, we are actually done toying around. So, yeah, a number of San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. Now, one thing I can say, like honorable mention type of thing, McFarlane Toys did a Black Manta, Booster Gold, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and I believe Metamorpho. A series of 4 of those figures in the $9.99 price point. So if you're into those are available. Those are available for pre-order. The items I showed that were from Mattel, those you can actually get at San Diego Comic-Con. You have to, I guess, arrange a time to be there or whatever. But apparently, they're going to have some at 9 a.m. online. Now, I don't know. Was it June 25th, 9 a.m.? No, July. Sorry about that. We'd have to be time travelers for it to be June 25th. So July 25th at 9 a.m. PT, so I guess 11 a.m. my time, they're going to have some available. Again, I don't know if that means like last ditch and you're able to get them if you're in San Diego at the convention, or if that means it's some that they can actually sell online and have shipped to you. I'm not sure. So definitely check that out. And now we are going to look into the near future of comic books, all the way to 1 week from today. Okay. I was happy I was able to do that without blinking. I try to do that each time, but I don't always pull it off. Okay, so first up, we have... Let's see, how do I want to go about this? Let's see, where's number 1A? There we go. Oh, 1 second here, sorry. There we go. Absolute Power number 1. Okay. This is a variant cover. Batman versus Failsafe. And I know what you're thinking. Failsafe is dead. Well, stay tuned for the comic book review this week. Okay, anyway, this variant cover is Batman versus Failsafe. And every now and then I see some really great covers and I want to show multiples just because they're so good. And this is one of those. Like, this is one of those points where the comic comes out, you're looking forward to it, and you're like, oh my god, which cover do I go with? Because of how great they are. So I really like this one. I like the take on Failsafe because they very much make him look more Batman-like. Sometimes he looks a little bit more manga or anime style. And this one makes him look more Batman. And that might be part of maybe a change in him in the comic. I'm not sure. But, yep, I love that variant cover right there. Next up we have this one. This is not the variant cover. This is a wraparound from, I believe it's Dan Mora. And you have all the players in Absolute Power here. And I think it looks really good. A lot of detail, a lot of great characters. A new villain, very recent villain on that back cover there. Yeah, I like that one a lot. And finally, this absurd cover. The sandbox cover. You have a young Amanda Waller playing with the Justice League like they're toys, which is very much what Amanda Waller basically does to everybody. So yeah, I like all these covers. I think they're really good. I'm probably going to go either with the Dan Mora wraparound or the Batman vs. Failsafe. I'm not sure. Like, I do like this cover, but I don't know if I actually want to own said cover, if that makes any sense. But it's very nice, and I definitely wanted to show it people because it's fun. It's a very fun cover. And I'm sure there's details there I didn't even notice, you know? But yeah. That's Absolute Power number 1 coming out next week. Next up we have Batman. And not just an issue of Batman, Batman issue 150. Basically, a low-rent thug in Gotham has found out Batman's identity, and he wants to basically spill the beans, okay? But the question here, is Batman upset? Is Batman going to try to stop this person? Or at this point, after everything he dealt with Failsafe, does he even care anymore? So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was a really cool way to look at it and go about it. And then there's a tie-in story featuring Batman and Catwoman in the ultimate heist against Amanda Waller. So, yeah, this is a variant cover. I thought this was a really good one. And, like, issue 150, when you hit, like, 100, 150, 200, anything like that, they consider it almost like a bit of an event. So, I mean, this, you know, obviously is not as big as what, you know, hitting 800 or 1,000, but still it's something. And, yeah, Batman 150 comes out next week. And one of my favorite new comic books, which amazes me, because honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the source material. Space Ghost, number 3. Dave Papos is doing an excellent job with Space Ghost. And it's basically the story of this haunted man, haunted by what happened to his family, and feeling that he needs to protect these two kids and their little pet monkey from terrible, terrible people that may have been responsible for what happened to his family. And in issue 3, he goes against the evil corporation called RoboCorp. So, yeah, I absolutely love this cover. This is a cover by an artist last name Berens. And Berens did the cover I loved from last issue 2, I believe. Now, here's something kind of interesting. Now, I don't say it's editorial, but I guess kind of sort of like that. Francesco Mattina was found to be doing AI art. And I believe DC has cut ties with Francesco. And issue 3 does have an actual Francesco Mattina cover. And I don't know, but that might be one of the last ones. I don't know the deal that Dynamite Comics is doing. I don't know if they've made any announcements or anything. But if you're trying to get any of those last covers, it might be that one, you know? But I love this one. I think this Barron's cover is excellent. And, yeah, Space Ghost number 3. The cool thing, too, at Space Ghost is that I like it a lot. I think it's awesome. And usually when that happens, the book doesn't do well. Like TV shows, movies, books, I feel like I curse them sometimes by liking them. But no, Space Ghost is really good, and as far as I've heard, sales are really good, and people are really enjoying it. And it's a very cool take on the original concept. So, I highly recommend it. Issue 1 and 2 have been great. And, you know, that's not a big brag that I'm up to date with it. But no, I've read issue 1 and 2, and I'll be reading issue 3 next week. So, okay, everybody. Next up, we have a review of... One second here. Absolute Power, Ground Zero. So this is the actual beginning of the Absolute Power miniseries, crossover, whatever you want to call it. And it's pretty wild. It's well done. I highly recommend it. It's a good intro. It's a great intro for like DC Comics currently. So look at it that way. And it brings a lot of things together. It brings the Superman comic book together. It brings the Batman comic book together. It's really awesome. So, okay. We start out with Dreamer, who has recently become a member of the Suicide Squad, or Task Force X, and Amanda Waller did something pretty wild and terrible in a recent Suicide Squad comic book series called Dream Team. And the repercussions of that were the death of Jay's mother on Gamora Island, where she served as president. Okay? It was a crazy reveal, because it's like you weren't quite sure what they were up to, and then you find that out. And Dreamer had no choice. They were going to kill Dreamer's family unless... Amanda Waller was going to do that. Kill Dreamer's family unless she used her powers in order to, you know, take out the president of Gamora, which was Jay's mother. And now, apparently Amanda Waller has set her sights on Jay himself and his powers. And there's this great scene where, like, Dreamer's talking to Jay and saying, "I'm sorry, I had no choice." And Jay is like, "Yes, you did." And he's like, "You know, I can't believe you did this to me. I thought we were friends." And Dreamer is like, "They were going to kill my family." And then when he finds out it's Amanda Waller, Jay is like, "Oh," you know, and realizes, you know, how terrible she is. And then you have a moment together where they're angry at one another and maybe hateful things to be said, but they understand the situation. And basically, the big point of this comic, this issue, is that if Amanda Waller sets her sights on you, you have no choice. You need to do what she says, or either you will die or all your loved ones will. She's monstrous like that, in case you didn't know too much about the character Amanda Waller. Also, if you disagree, there's a bomb in your brain she blows up, killing you. Okay, so that's the first story arc. Basically, Dreamer apprehending Jay, and Jay being in a prison cell. Okay? The second story arc has to do with Failsafe. And basically using the powers of one of the metahumans in order to repair Failsafe. And you're wondering, wait, why does Amanda Waller want to repair Failsafe? What's the reason for that? Well, because Failsafe does a great job working one-on-one with other machines. And if like someone is talking to Failsafe, they can say, hey, do this, and the machines will do that. Okay? Also, incredibly powerful, and look, almost like an evil Batman, Failsafe is. It was the ultimate weapon if Batman went rogue and killed somebody. That's the concept of Failsafe. In fact, Batman himself, Bruce, actually built it. And it has been his nightmare for like the last, oh man, I don't know, probably 30 issues of Batman. So, you find out Amanda has another plan. Not just Failsafe. She was going to have Zur-En-Arrh versions, which are these twisted versions of Batman, so he didn't have to deal with psychological trauma. Didn't work out too well for the Bat, though. It didn't. It didn't at all. Well, those versions of Zur-En-Arrh are going into Amazo robots. So you have Failsafe leading an army of 6 Amazos that all have a twisted version of Batman inside their heads. What could possibly go wrong there? Hey Mike, how you doing? Is Amanda Waller always evil? Well, see, that's the fascinating thing. She's monstrously evil, but she herself thinks that what she's doing is for the betterment of mankind, the betterment of peace and everything, but she's a monster. She's just a monster. Now, I believe they did something like an origin series, but again, like when you buy comic books, you have to budget things. And I was like, I don't know how much I need to go into the background of Amanda Waller. And sometimes when you go into a bad guy or a villain and you demystify why they are like they are, it's not as great. It's not as great. They tried to do it with Leatherface in a movie, and I thought was really disappointing. Now, those were the first 2 storylines in this book. The third one is mind-blowing. So, the Brainiac Queen from House of Brainiac, I don't know if that has an exact name yet. I have to find that out. Anyway, it crash lands in a ship, catatonic. Like, it can't do anything, it's just there. And Amanda Waller finds it. And, okay, this is so wild. Amanda Waller, working with Failsafe, creates a 20-year period of her raising the Brainiac Queen as a daughter. It's amazing. So you're going from this time of like a little kid and having Amanda Waller teaching all of this stuff, and then in one moment Amanda says end simulation, as she's like a 70-year-old woman sitting on a rocker with her 20-year-old daughter sitting next to her. Simulation ends. She's like in a lab type place. Failsafe is there, and Failsafe says 24 years in a 20-hour span. And Failsafe says it may have irreparably damaged your brain, And Amanda Waller, like, doesn't care. Because that's how much she wants absolute power. But man, that writing, that concept of how to basically have this super powerful weapon connected to Brainiac ingratiated to somebody is so wild. It was so good. So I highly recommend Absolute Power Ground Zero. Sometimes these like issue zeros or, you know, the preludes aren't that exciting. Not only is this well done and exciting, it's also great because if you've stepped away from the comics for a while, it brings you up to speed for this event. It does that really well, especially like its background for Failsafe and the House of Brainiac stuff. Really well done. I highly recommend it. And like I said, Absolute Power 1 comes out next week. So that's actually the beginning of the series. The series itself is 4 issues. I believe it's over the course of 2 months. Now, July, I think, is insane because I think it's Absolute Power 1 and 2 come out, and I think 3 and 4 come out in August. Don't quote me on that, please. But then it also connects to Batman. It connects to the Superman comic book, possibly Action Comics, but I'm not 100% on that one. But yeah. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. For whatever reason, if you wanted to see more of me, and heaven only knows why you would, twitch.tv/Hoarder Gamer. And right now I'm playing, like I said, Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition, and very much enjoying it. Also, I'm doing Destiny 2 The Final Shape. And next Tuesday, you know, servers willing, I'll be playing the First Descendant. You know, we'll see. We'll see if the servers are on fire that day. Who knows? Also, tomorrow, XLM, who's in chat right now, will join me for Games on a Plane. I am the co-pilot on Games on a Plane. And you can check that out at gamesonaplane.com. That'll take you to the Twitch channel. 7:30 p.m. Central, I believe, is the time. So, everybody, thank you very much, and have yourself a great week. Bye-bye.